bust out that Anivia, on command against Longers, like you mentioned, is a really good sign. So, time for picks and bans. Game number 1, Afreeca Freecs versus MVP. And Elise going to be the first champion banned away today. There's a Hecarim, of course, a respect ban against Ixu. Can't really be too shocked about that one.
I really am not surprised that they're just following in the footsteps of the Rocks Tigers when it comes to the pick ban phase. And the Grog is taken out. So we're seeing a lot of respect played to Beyond. And he has been just amazing on Gragas this season.
Well, I mean, you have to agree, because out of the MVP players right now, he's the one that certainly seems to be commanding the most attention in the bans, but that kind of leaves players like Ian open to really kind of get his pick.
Well, it's also, Beyond has a lot of tricks. I mean, we even saw the Amumu jungle come out from Beyond, which is a specialty pocket pick, and they won that game against the Rocks Tigers. So he is a little bit tricky at times. Trundle will be the final ban here. Now, ADD's Shen has been a bit of a crutch, I feel, for MVP, because ADD has not been a world beater of a top laner, and it did help propel them to a victory against Jinair. But this is dangerous, I think, if they are going to be giving the Shen over. I fully expect MVP to take that pick very early on in the draft.
We will see. Nidalee, the last ban. MVP also taking out the Aurelia, just not wanting to deal with that from Ixu. And so the Afreeca Freecs, they will take that Shen first.
Yeah, I think you have to take that Shen first. Can't afford to give it away. Beyond still, I don't really know if he's going to be hurt too much by this. Obviously, he can go back to either the Rek'Sai or the Gragas, which are or the Rek'Sai or the Graves, rather, which are his 2 most played junglers this season. And the Vladimir, still up. The Ryze, still up in this draft. So there's a lot of wiggle room. The Karma, I mean, because we had a few pocket bans poke into this draft with the Gragas and the Hecarim, we're seeing quite a few power picks left available. MVP may have a tough time deciding between.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of shocking to see the Gragas and the Karma get through the second round here.
Well,
the Graves wouldn't be surprising. Gangplank would, but they're going to go with Sivir, so Sivir Graves.
No Vlad, despite the fact that that's been one of the most banned champions against Mickey this season. So the Vlad gets through, but they are also going to have access to that Ryze if they want it. And Karma up too. I mean, this taking Sivir, maybe not so much of a surprise. Now, people will be wondering about the Graves. It has been, this year, probably Lyra's best champion. He's been very good on it. So it is a little bit of a denial pick, and also they want to put as much emphasis on Beyond carrying as they can.
Yeah.
Because he has been the standout star of this MVP team.
Well, it's like you mentioned, too. I mean, Beyond's second most played jungler is Graves, and that's only, 1 behind is Rek'Sai. He has Rek'Sai 5, Graves 4, so it's a good pick for him as well. Lyra deciding between the Rek'Sai, which is his most played jungler this season.
I wonder where MVP is going to be going with this. They probably, if you see the Graves Sivir, you're probably going to want the Karma, so Afreeca may just deny that pick, and that is what they're going to do. Playing it safe. Nobody really willing to commit to the Vladimir or the Ryze quite yet.
Yeah, do you think maybe MVP is trying to bait out the Vladimir and then go for something like a Anivia last pick?
Probably. Yeah, I think you have to imagine that that is going to be the case. Aurelion Sol, are we going to have another Aurelion Sol player in this league besides Fly on KT Rolster? Ian has not played it this season.
Yep. Right. And the Bard's been a popular pick for Max, so wouldn't be surprised to see that locked in. It will be, and will they go for the Aurelion Sol already? Nope, swapping into the Maokai.
All right, we haven't seen a lot of Maokai ever since he did get some nerfs. In terms of his health regeneration, it does make him a bit more challenging to lane with, but they are setting up here for some pretty damn strong initiation. Bard ult, Twisted Advance, and a Sivir ultimate. So MVP really is going to be able to get in onto the Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah.
Afreeca, they have not had a solid form of engage show up yet, but of course Thresh and Ashe would provide that for them. But it would be a really low damage composition for Afreeca. Yeah, I think you have to take the Vlad. here and just move that karma over to support.
You got to be a little bit worried now if that Anivia pick's going to come in from MVP. Really seems like they're trying to set it up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, though. I think that they are definitely trying to set it up.
Yeah, okay, Vlad and Ash locked in. And so Songyun's played a couple games of Ash this season, but only a couple. Will it be that Anivia for MVP? Is the bird the word? The ice bird?
They have a lot of answers to this Vladimir already. They can tie him up in the front line with the CC from the Bard or from the Maokai, so they don't necessarily need to go with the Anivia pick.
It's true.
But Anivia has proven just ridiculously successful. Longzhu has been trying to play with Vlad every game, and both against SK Telecom and against MVP, the Anivia really messed with the Vladimir pick, and why not just go for the counter pick? This is the counter pick that SK Telecom and Faker really innovated at the start of this season.
Yep. Seems like a good plan, and the timer's ticking down. And there it is, so Anivia locked in.
Also a bit of concern here, picking the Ashe into the Maokai. Low mobility AD carries do not do well against targeted CC.
Well, yeah, the teleport engages from ADD. If he can pull them off, are going to be a real problem for Afreeca.
Yeah, Afreeca also struggling because their only form of primary engage is an Ashe Arrow, so if that misses from Songyun, and there's not going to be much they can do about actually getting in to fight MVP, not to mention just the number of disengage tools that MVP have with that Anivia wall and everything else they can throw at it, Tempered Fate. So they'll be able to stop any kind of engage or follow-up engage on an Ashe Arrow as long as they use Bard ult properly or the Glacial Storm.
Indeed. So, Afreeca maybe picking themselves into a bit of a corner here.
I will say I am not the biggest fan of Afreeca's composition in this game. I think it gives them very limited options as to how to play this to win. Certainly they can play a double teleport game and maybe pull it off, but still going to be a challenge, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. MVP set themselves up to have a good chance to move ahead in the rankings in their last match of the round robin. Monty, I have some good news for you.
Oh?
ADD is using a skin that you've been wanting to see for a long time. It's Maokai time. Are you ready?
I am ready for a tree and a cat suit for some reason.
That's right. I thought you'd be ready for a tree and a cat suit. Well, let's see if Afreeca's ready to take on MVP. Time to get into game one. Infernal Drake starting things off today as we get into game number one. Afreeca Freecs versus MVP. I gotta say, this morning when I woke up, I didn't expect to be saying I thought you'd be excited about a tree and a cat suit. I didn't think that'd be a sentence that I would be uttering today.
I am still waiting for them to make the Greenpeace Maokai skin with the protester chain to it.
Yeah.
Like a platform with a bucket on it. Like
throws
on
other
top.
ones. Yep.
Throws other protesters.
That's right. That sounds, although then I suppose they need to like run towards people and explode. That may not go over too well, so.
It's okay, you can just throw the buckets instead.
Yeah, that works.
They'll
okay.
explode with
Let's go with that.
fecal matter.
Wow, and nobody wants that running after them, let me tell you. Awkward. Oh, well, Afreeca Freecs may have their work cut out for them a little bit in this game. We'll see. That's a deep laugh coming from that bird. Oh wait, is that Vlad? Never mind.
And that's how Doa was confused.
That's pretty much every 10 minutes.
All right, invade here, but it's a bait from the Afreeca Freecs.
Yep, Songyun and Snowflower waiting for Max and Maha. They're going to walk right into it. Max taking some damage right off the bat. On the way out.
Yeah,
taking a lot of damage. There's the exhaust. Going to have to flash summoner for summoner there. But the flash a bit more valuable. So Snowflower and Songyun coming out a little bit ahead in that one.
Yeah, I see the trading going on in the mid lane right now.
Yep.
And this is just a waiting game for MVP. He should be in a very good place to team fight late. And Afreeca is going to have to use this Shen ultimate quite well from Ixu early on in this game if they want to make an impact and try and run away with this. They will have a decent 1-3-1 split push with the Vladimir and the Shen. See how ADD does, bringing out the Maokai, pick that nobody has nobody's taken in a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's certainly fallen off as we've seen more carry tops kind of pop back up again.
Yeah, the tank tops, wow, nice Gaza riding.
Yeah.
We've seen more the emergence of Shen and Hakarim more as tank top laners.
Yep. So. True enough.
Oh, Lear going for an invade, actually, pretty early.
Yeah,
knows that they have the pressure and good positioning. Watch Snowflower's positioning on the map right now in Tri-Brush, so just making sure that he can respond in case anybody's going to be coming over to that side. So Lyra is going to pick up the red buff out of that. Beyond went for a full clear on his side of the map, so just going red to red, and that means Lyra is a happy Rek'Sai.
I would say so. Beyond is a sad Graves. Taking his anger out on the Raptors.
With a shotgun.
That's right.
He's hunting for game birds, it's okay.
He has to eat the whole thing, though. He's a subsistence Graves.
Is he? He picks all the shot out of it.
I think so.
That's one of the more exciting things about eating English cuisine or British cuisine sometimes, is that you get to pick the shotgun shot out of your quail.
Whoa, Mickey going aggressive. Ian responding. I feel like that would really be uncomfortable to bite down on if you weren't expecting it.
Yes, it is. But that's one of the things you have to expect when you're eating that kind of food, though. It comes with the territory.
Oh.
You have to chew gingerly.
Glad I was warned now. A lot of people are chipping their teeth on that. Ixu just TPing back to lane. And here's Beyond for a little bit of a gank in the mid lane. Well, as much of a gank as Graves can provide, I suppose. But can do a little bit of damage to Mickey anyway.
Yeah, just helping push out right there. He needed a time to go back and shop, refill his mana pool.
Yeah.
Mickey going the boots first just to try and dodge out some of those stuns. Teleport used to get back in right after picking up his tier, so we'll begin stacking that immediately. And Beyond just sticking around and helping everything reverse for Ian.
Well, Mickey's gotten a decent little CS lead already, and it's probably not going to shrink anytime soon. Lyra hiding in Tri. Beyond, though, maybe coming in for a gank. They're going to see each other, though. That's a double bust for Lyra. Beyond in a bit of an awkward spot right now. But is anyone able to really respond? Doesn't really look like it. Nope. A little bit lucky, I guess, that Mickey couldn't come down into the jungle for the collapse.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Maokai was going to get there faster, so really dangerous, actually, for Afreeca, and more important, that Beyond actually just knows where the Rek'Sai is. He wants to keep farming. The goal here for MVP is a scaling composition. They want to get the Graves big, they want to get the Anivia big before they actually start fighting. So just knowledge of the enemy jungler, valuable enough.
Well, Mickey's doing a good job of harassing Ian, though.
And we've Mickey actually doing a much better job in this matchup than we've seen other players do with the Vladimir. A lot of the time we've seen the Vlads fall a little bit flat, but it should go back more towards Ian's direction once he gets that Glacial Storm and can really punish the Vlad for walking up on the minion wave, catch him in the AoE, and then get the Flash Frost afterward.
Neither of these guys have Smite at the moment. Beyond should have his a little bit sooner, but it looks like Lyra's going to abandon it. More action in the bot lane. Which does better, the terrible ninja or the tree in a catsuit?
The eternal questions that philosophers were born to answer, Doa.
Yep, that's right. I'm sure Plato, Socrates would all be proud that the brain power of mankind is going to thinking about things like this right now.
That's right.
The important things.
I'm sure they're spinning in their graves.
Why would a living tree wear a catsuit anyway?
Just has identity issues, though. It's okay.
I mean, maybe. He's been climbed by so many cats. Cats have used him as like a scratching post for a long time. So He wants to see how the other half lives. He's going to go and scratch some cats.
Do you think that when cats get stuck in Maokai, they have to call firefighter Tristana to get them out?
Yeah, I think that's about right. That sounds about right. But does he give them back? I think he just consumes them.
It's a very cruel tree. You think he'd be happier with his natural world brethren?
No, I think he's just a natural predator, right? He lures cats in, and then he consumes them.
Wow.
You know, like a Venus flytrap.
I didn't know that Maokai was a carnivorous plant, but now I do, Doa.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? Why would he have a mouth if he wasn't carnivorous?
Talking, maybe?
And eating.
Uh-oh.
Like you walking right into ADD. There's a carnivorous tree right there, man. But here comes the Stand United. Shun coming down. Ixu is there. ADD has the ultimate popped. Chasing him back through lane. No summoners really used aside from those teleports yet.
Yeah, that was a great answer, actually, from Ian. The wall straight into the stun onto Shen prevented Afreeca from doing anything at all with that play, and a very safe disengage after the Stand United was used. So nice to be able to pull that ultimate out in the early game. That does mean that these side lanes, which have been struggling a little bit, especially the Sivir, will have a nice opportunity to get some farm. Top laners will be heading into the top at this point because that Infernal Drake is there as the first Drake of the game. So nobody wanted to give that one up for free, but Afreeca not in a good space right now, and here we go.
Yeah, Max and Beyond coming in behind Ixu. Ixu trying to taunt through. He flashes. Still low. Tempered Fate catches him. This should be first blood. Waiting for it. And there goes Ixu. Can't dodge his way out of that one. First blood going to Max. Afreeca, though, responding with that Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
And, that's a pretty good trade.
This is not a good trade for
Afreeca.
Yeah, it's not a good trade for MVP, absolutely. And very good for Afreeca. They'll be happy to give up that first blood. And not only that, but I don't understand why MVP would even be trying to make a play onto the top side right now instead of trying to kill Mickey. Or at least, because Mickey is low, just waiting for him to recall and then making a play onto the Drake itself. I think if MVP had been a bit more patient, they would have been able to actually get a lot out of that.
Ian could be in a little bit of trouble here. He's got his flash. He's going to have to use it right away, and that's going to be enough to get him out for now. But, you know, it's interesting, like you said, that we see MVP doing this, because I feel like it's more illustrating what we were talking about earlier, than that they're just not the greatest team early game.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the decision-making gets a lot better past, like, 15 minutes.
Well, usually like 25 minutes around the Baron. That's where MVP has actually excelled this season. I really find it interesting that you would try for a gank onto the Shen when his Stand United was down, so he would have a harder time joining any ganks elsewhere on the map. And all they had to do was wait for Mickey's recall, considering how low he was without TP, just to basically 5-man around the Drake and pick up the first Infernal Drake, but instead they give it up. So Afreeca be quite pleased with getting that. It's a small price to pay.
Say so. Max is like opening up his own hot chocolate shop in lane here. First one's free, Bart said.
That's how they get you, Doa.
Yep, I know.
But then you're hooked.
Yep. Hooked on the cocoa. The hot cocoa, that is. Of course. Devious Santa Claus.
Lyra does not see Beyond.
Oh, he sees the ward, though, and Beyond sees Lyra. ADD and Ixu tangling up in the top lane. ADD thinking about collapsing onto the jungler, but that's not going to end up happening.
Ixu going for Force the Spectre's Cowl first. We did see ADD start with Double Doran's Rings just so we could push the Shen around and just get that minion wave right next to his turret in the early part of the game. So using Maokai's superior wave clear with the Arcane Smash to get that done.
Meanwhile, the AD carries brutally murdered scores of minions in front of each other. The sick and twisted game continues.
Just about who can decapitate more minions.
That's right. It's really horrifying when you think about it. You get the last hit.
That's right. The execution is what's important, Doa.
Yeah.
It is really sadistic to think about that these Sivir and Ash are just standing there in lane, and they're like, all right, minions, just hit each other, just beat each other to death, except I get to kill you. I'm the one
Yeah, I mean,
who will be your doom in the end.
even like the Dothraki horde looks at bot lane and they're like, dude, that's kind of messed up. Do you have to be so violent?
Just cruel. Just cruel.
It is known.
Well, we're just going to be here waiting for a while. Beyond is in a ward and thinking that Lyra doesn't see him.
Uh-oh. Oh, Asher onto Beyond. Tries to dodge out of it. Flash knockup as Shen comes in. Goodbye, Beyond. Sent to the great Beyond as Afreeca goes for this blue buff now.
Ooh, and EDD teleported for that.
Yeah.
Not good.
You're never going to get there as quick as Shen is. And with that Asher connecting, you know he's pretty much going to be dead right from the beginning.
Yeah, Beyond also died with his flash up, and he was quick drawing the wrong way. He went in a straight line away from the arrow.
Yeah.
So pretty big mechanical misplay there from Beyond causes that play to occur, but it was well set up. Good planning from Afreeca. Ixu was there with his finger on the trigger of the Stand United so that he could get with Lyra and make sure that they actually confirm the kill onto Beyond in the end. So nice setup. And that's a pretty big play there for Afreeca because making sure the Anivia doesn't get blue buff is a #1 priority in this game. And you can see Ian very low on mana at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Nivea's always been a bit of a mana hog. And that's going to be a big problem.
Especially with her nerfs on 6-11, and here we go.
Yeah, Ixu teleporting down. They're going to go after Max and Maha. Maha in a little bit of trouble here. He's got the Sivir ult. Tempered Fate locks up Ixu, so they will just trade that Bard ultimate and keep their summoners, but they may lose this bottom turret for it. Looks like they probably will.
Yeah, one of the keys to this game was Afreeca's ability to play around with his Shen ult and make it work and turn it into a significant gold lead, and that's what they're doing. ADD trying to do some proxy farming in the interim, and it looks like we are going to see Beyond make his way up to the top side so that they can at least trade turret for turret.
Yep. Well, that is a confusing looking skin.
A little bit unlucky with the minion wave.
Yep. Yeah, they still get the turret anyway. I mean, the gold's still pretty even. And the thing is as, you know, MVP's been, well, I should say Afreeca's been making good moves, but you got to worry about letting the game get too late against MVP.
Yeah, you do, and especially with this Anivia is just growing in power with the tier and soon to be Rod of Ages. They are going to hit a power spike. I do like that Songyun did pick up the Runins first. They do need more reliable wave clear in this game, considering that Mickey and Ixu have to get pretty close. And that leaves them very vulnerable to getting caught out by Maokai if they are defending against a siege.
Yeah. Ocean Drake comes up, so not quite as good as the Infernal Drake, but it is something. Let's see if we can claim it.
ADD already on the way down.
Yep, looks like MVP is going to go for this one. Ah, but Snowflower coming up.
Stand United's available.
Yeah, MVP, their entire team pretty much going to be seen by a combination of wards and the Hawk Shot. So it's called, I think that's called Hawk Shot.
Yes, it is.
All right, there you go. It's been a while. So you're getting some decent damage under that top turret, though, and it looks like Afreeca's just going to claim that second dragon for themselves.
Good patience, and they put on the pressure before going for it. They forced MVP to respond in the top lane to keep that turret up, and MVP decides that the turret is of more use to them than picking up the Drake, and Beyond wants to go in and try and take a blue buff also to do a little bit more denial. Not that big of a deal. Beyond now caught.
Yeah, trying to dash away. There's a flash, gets out of the taunt.
That was actually really well done by Beyond, using his ultimate to make sure that he wasn't going to be in Shadow Dash range. Preemptively using it. Does cost him a flash, but they do take away the blue again. And we're talking about a composition here with a Rek'Sai and a Vladimir, so they don't really need the blue buff.
Yep.
But you take what you can get. If you can, you're already committed to not going ahead and contesting the Drake, which, you know, I like MVP, what they're doing in this game. They're not playing in a power trough. they're just showing that they are patient, waiting for the scaling that they know is going to come.
Well, there's the arrow, and it misses everybody. Ixu engaging onto ADD, though, but he's still got his turrets, so no gank onto the Maokai this time.
Yeah, and Afreeca doing what they can in this game. They're trying to snowball early. Couple of Drakes already down. They're trying to move the Ashe and the Karma around to different lanes to keep pushing and snowball a turret advantage. But they do get a little bit scared. Cold feet. And they don't push into that top side at all. Instead, we have 3 people from MVP in the mid lane, and everyone just recalled on the side of Afreeca.
All right, well, Stand United coming in for Mickey. He's going to keep going. There's the taunt. They're going to be able to pick up Maha with that. Ixu not done yet. Ian has to flash away. They take the magical journey. Mickey goes in. Beyond still alive for the moment. Will he live? Looks like he'll barely make it out.
Beyond escaping by the skin of his teeth again. Here comes ADD.
Yep.
So they try and make a play, turning around the pressure in the mid lane, but they do it at the cost of a significant amount of their HP.
It does hurt a little bit. Good pick by Mickey, you know, going in kind of on his own, trusting that Stand United to keep him healthy enough to survive.
And this is another instance of Maha.
A blue buff taken by Lyra there. They're going in on the Snowflower, though. Snowflower extremely low. There's the flashes. They're going to get 1 kill at least. Cosmic Binding doesn't hit Lyra, so they're going to have to settle with that. They don't get their blue buff back, which is, again, a bit of a problem for Ian.
Yeah, Afreeca's been playing well around the Drake and the blue buff, fortunately in the same zone, and because they were winning the duo lane matchup so handily in the early game and they got the turret down, meant that they could play aggressively here. So let's take a look at this. I mean, Maha, again, too far forward on this one. Also in the wrong place. He should have been at the top side, actually, of that pack, because being as far away from Mickey as possible when there is a Shen on the Rift is very important. Well, as I was going to say, Maha's positioning has been suspect at best this season, and he has been very prone to getting picked off.
Hey, what do you know? Spell shields the Ashe arrow. I guess that's good. Oh, Lyra misses the flash knockup. Teleport coming in for ADD. He completes it. Can they catch anybody? Yep, flash engage on the Songyun.
Right,
there's the stun. Ian with a good job there. But Ixu coming from the top. Ian in trouble. Gets turned into the egg. Max trying to do the damage he can on that Bard. Lyra low himself. And here comes Beyond picking up a kill with that collateral damage on the Songyun. MVP backing away now. They've got 1. And as Mickey joins the fight, I think they'll be satisfied with that.
Yeah, Afreeca doesn't want to actually get into this cluster of MVP because they are so good at kiting with their champions right now. And there you go.
Well, Mickey, okay, Stand United used Ixu, taking a lot of damage in return for that.
Well, that's just a free ultimate out right there. Lyra goes into the mid lane, but he does not have a Tiamat or a Titanic Hydra yet, so pushing this will be a little bit on the slower side.
I gotta say, ADD and Ian did a great job of setting up that kill on the Songyun.
Yep.
The way they chained that CC.
Also, Beyond just coming in for the finisher at the end. Songyun sticking around for too long, got a little bit greedy and was punished for it. So MVP still lagging behind in the gold total, but they're holding their own, and we're getting to the point in the game where they are going to start getting very scary in about 5 minutes.
Yep. Minute 40 till the next dragon. And Ixu able to put some pressure onto this bot lane here. But, yeah, Maha's positioning. It's constantly been a point of contention for MVP. And he just doesn't seem to be getting that much better at it. It's weird. Like, he can... Oh, all right. Arrow onto ADD. Maybe they've got a pick here. Chain's locked in. He's tanky, but that's a lot of CC. Here comes Beyond to help out, though. Looks like ADD will go down. Twisted advance over the Krugs, but nope. That is it. You have killed Garfield, skinned him, and have worn his skin as your coat, and so you will be killed in turn.
Is that how it works when you skin Garfield and wear it?
That's how it works when you skin any comic character and wear it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I was going to do it to Marmaduke, but I won't now, I guess.
Not Marmaduke. Oh, no.
My Marmaduke skin coat is not going to come to be, unfortunately, Noah.
At least you didn't say Dilbert or something. That would have been really messed up.
How about Dogbert?
Dogbert? Yeah, okay.
I can skin Dogbert
You can skin
and wear him as a coat.
Sure. I'll skin and wear Snoopy then.
I'm coming for you, Hobbs.
That's right. Well, he's not really a real tiger, though. Or is he?
Or is he, Noah?
I don't want to break the illusion.
You never know. That's the whole joy of it.
Sure, yeah. I actually like Calvin, though, so I wouldn't do that to Hobbs. But as far as the Peanuts characters go, not as much. Oh, ADD. Walking right into it again. Max is there with the rest of his team, though. Mickey flashing over the Anivia wall, goes in, looking for a big chemo play. Gonna find on 2 members anyway. They do get the kill on the Maha, who was way too far forward. Random Ash Arrow makes an appearance. Meanwhile, Beyond backing away from the fight. They've got to try to kite as best they can. ADD not gonna make it out of this one, though, I don't think. Nope, there's another kill for Mickey. He is getting pretty huge on this VOD now.
And that's a mistake. Afreeca wants MVP to split up in these engagements. And MVP, they tried to actually engage that, but what they need to do is just stay together. Use their kiting to the greatest effect possible. And instead, when you get in these little bitty skirmishes, ADD's going to face check this. Remember, ADD does not have any armor yet. So Songyun is going to do a lot of damage to him, which is why he got picked off in the last gank also. Now, everybody else, Maha, like you said, too far forward. They're just taunted there by the Shen. No chance to really do much of anything. ADD thinks he may be able to get away because the attack damage just isn't there, but Karma speed boost allows Mickey to get under that turret and work through the Spirit Visage. And now we're going to see them going for a Baron. Bold play. Very bold. TP available for both Ian and ADD.
Yeah, very bold, very dangerous here. Baron getting low. Max may use that Tempered Fate. No, it's actually on cooldown. Ixu comes over the wall. Oh, actually, the Baron does go to Afreeca. They get it at the very end. MVP on the run now. And this could be bad. Maha, a little bit behind the rest of his team, but the Sivralt does help propel them away. But now you've got Afreeca Freecs with the Baron buff, so.
Yeah, quick take there from Afreeca, but this Maokai is just getting shredded by the Ashe.
Yeah.
And has the Bombing Cinder, but he's had that for a very long time now, unable to build into his first fully completed armor item, and that is really hurting. Now Songyun, of course, has the QSS, so just getting him with a Twisted Advance and exploding him is no longer an option for MVP. They've got to find another solution, but Afreeca have been doing a great job of accelerating the pace of this game. 3 Drakes.
Lyra's still got that blue buff, too.
Yeah, and when we think about Afreeca's game plan, they were obviously ready if they picked Vladimir for the Anivia pick to take hold. The winning duo lane that they had in the bottom side of the map has allowed them to take away these blue buffs so consistently from Ian, which means that they haven't had the wave clear that they would have normally had to turtle this game. And instead, now a very large lead, about 7,000 gold for Afreeca as they continue to push aggressively. And this is exactly what they needed to do to win.
Yeah, Tempered Fate comes down. They do lock up Songyun with that. Will there be any follow-up? Not with Mickey there, I don't think. That's going to be a tier 2. Maha flashing out of the way of that Ash Arrow.
Yeah, must not have had a spell shield available.
I guess not.
So had to burn that flash. That's going to hurt in any upcoming fights. Does make him a lot more vulnerable to dive plays from Afreeca.
Yep, could be a problem.
Ian should not be flanking.
That's pretty dangerous. Yep, Lyra taking a lot of damage in return, though. Ian barely escaped with his life.
ADD had to use his TP.
Play. That's right, Snowflower a little bit low. He's going to have to back away. Has a shield, though, from that Karma. ADD gets taken up by Songyun. Yeah, they just can't stand up to this Ashe. That's going to be the inhibitor. And that may be the game if Afreeca can pick up another kill or two, but it looks like they'll probably just take the inhibitor and go for now.
Well, they have such a huge gold advantage, Doa.
Yeah, they don't need to try to end it at the moment.
And Maha they're not scared of him at all with only the Essence Reaver and the Phantom Dancer. They haven't even really been building a whole lot of armor items. Protobelt for the Vlad to give him some mobility, but no Zhonya's Hourglass just yet. And it's a bit rough now for MVP, but Afreeca has been doing really a good job of turning their lane victories into a game win, particularly Songyun and Snowflower, who have been playing around this Maokai, who has died now multiple times as a result of just not having the right items.
Yeah, Afreeca's done a great job of getting the lead early and then keeping it. And you know, we talked about how good MVP's late game was, but that's, you know, talking from kind of an even perspective. This kind of deficit, tough for anybody to come back from.
Yeah, it is a bit tricky.
ADD goes deep, a little bit too deep maybe, gets a lot of damage done to him very, very quickly. Ian zoning out Lyra with that wall, but no real follow-up for MVP. can't really follow up. So far behind. All right, trying it again. Mickey gets low, actually gets stunned underneath the turret. He's going to pull to stay alive for the moment. Tempered Fate locking him up. If they can get a kill on Mickey, maybe they can make something happen. Sand United, though, saves him. Beyond going in, gets exhausted as soon as he enters the fight. Now they're going to turn it around. Beyond in big trouble. There's a kill for Lyra. And MVP on the disengage yet again. Looks like for now they'll keep the turret up, though.
MVP is playing so aggressively with this Sivir and with this Graves, trying to go in when what they need to be doing is kiting.
Yeah.
And Ixu has been having the world's easiest time landing taunts as a result. And then the rest of his team coming in to burst down the CC member of MVP.
Well, that's going to be inhibitor number 2 going to the Afreeca Freecs. Another dragon in about 45 seconds. But so far, this is looking like a pretty one-sided win for Afreeca.
Yeah, this Maokai just not doing a whole lot in this game so far and getting shredded all too easily. Unfortunately for MVP, Mickey has been doing a lot of work on this Vladimir, though.
ADD is kind of looking like that guy in solo queue who just picks a champion for the skin, even though he can't really play it. You know, he's like, well, I got the skin. I got to play this. Like, why don't you play it in blind pick?
I mean, I don't think individually he's been doing that badly. It's just he didn't have the farm or the gold to buy the items that he needed, right? It wasn't like he had 3 MR items. He had 1.
Sure.
And then was trying to build into the Sunfire Cave so he'd have that beefiness that he needs. But it's just they sort of lost all their lanes here, and they couldn't hold on with the Anivia, with the Sivir wave clear.
Pretty much.
Now they're in a tough position. At least Maha does have the Executioner's Calling now, so he will be able to apply Grievous Wounds to the Vladimir pretty easily.
To do that, though, he has to get close enough to do it.
No, he just
and
has to ricochet.
He has to also not die first.
Well,
that's the real issue.
Yeah, he could ricochet onto it, any application of physical damage, so Boomerang Blade will also do it. He shouldn't have too much trouble.
All right, well, Tempered Fate goes down, catches a couple members of Afreeca. Turret's still pretty healthy for now. Hemo Flag used. That's a kill really fast onto Songyun, though. Now the 4v5, Afreeca going in. Couple kills, they're just so far ahead. They're able to put on a ton of damage. Ixu Sand United just to help out. Lyra picking up the double kill now, and this fight is looking like it's going to go for Afreeca. Mickey's still alive at the moment. Oh, big knock up under the turret there. MVP still sticking with it, though. Quite the brawl. Lyra, though, gets his 3rd kill of the game, or 3rd kill of the fight, rather, against Ian. And that's a double for Mickey to finish it off, and that should be the end of the game, too, as the Super Minion waves are in the base, knocking on the Nexus turret. That should be about it. So MVP, I mean, they're good in the late game, but when they get to the late game 10K down, even that good decision-making only takes you so far. Yeah,
and great aggressive early play from Afreeca. That was a gorgeous tower dive, actually, that Afreeca just executed right there because they were able to tank turret aggro for so long with the Vlad. Also, the double knock-up from Lyra at the start of it really sealed the deal, but really good coordination from Afreeca. And as I said at the beginning of this game, it really matters how well they're going to use Shen ult early to be able to snowball this game, and that is one thing that they proved very successful on. They kept the Drake and the enemy blue buff in their sights the entire game, denied both, and that was the big difference here from Afreeca. They come out swinging early, and they take a very solid game number 1.
Yeah. This is still a series that could absolutely go to game 3, but now, you know, the Anivia counter pick that worked so well in MVP's last match did not work against Mickey's Vlad.
Well, it's part of it is that they didn't actually have pressure. The fact that we saw Maha and Max get pushed in and lose their turret early meant no blue buff, so Anivia was a lot less useful for stalling out.
You know, it's funny to see that, like, most of the players on MVP actually did more damage than their Afreeca Freecs counterparts.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they still lost with relative ease in that game. Getting picked off was a huge part of it, but Songyun delivering on a lot of those arrows, and frankly, MVP just not playing their composition properly, not staying grouped up, not kiting out some of those team fights. The last team fight under the turret, they played it well, but at 10K deficit, really, what are you going to do at that stage?
A Very true. Well, when we come back, we will see what MVP can do as they try to tie things up against the Afreeca Freecs here on our final day of the first round of LCK Summer. So don't go anywhere, guys. More League of Legends on OGN. We'll be back right after the short break.